Oh, welcome. I hope you're feeling virtually not alone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know if anybody's even listening. Like these voices in the background makes them feel virtually not alone. Your host, General Griswold Gaius, member of the First Blood Regression Protocol and a member of the Fraternal Regiment embodying narcissistic sociopathy. On behalf of the Sacred Order of Foolish Transparency, as with the film, we have some all-stars in the hive mind today. Hive mind today. Hive mind today. Hive mind today. Hive mind today.
Well, Slack, for all that, at least I can give you some hot, fresh branding. Hot, fresh branding.
And I can show you how...
Whatever that seems to be something that is an overall good.
You're at a crossing. Can you feel this? Can you touch the fear and dizziness of our moment? Can you sense the ground shifting beneath you?
An overall good.
The sky spinning as a red tail swipes the stars from the heavens.
Good.
All is primitive, while the Inquisitor looms behind you.
Good.
Two sides have risen, and all reality is caught between Charybdis and Scylla.
I'm not sure, let's say, what the ultimate significance of each of us doing this is, but I think whatever that seems to be something that is an overall good.
How about that? Thanks, Ups. That was a good one. You could tell it was Ups because that symbol at the end, the VNA that way, that's the Ups way. That's the Ups way. Welcome, everybody. Have a casino deck card for the show. The 6 of clubs. Oh. Well, see, what happened was over on the Broken Clock Tower Discord, Ups was like, where was it? Here, he says, I suggest that, here, I can show people. This is what it looks like if you go on the Discord through your browser tab. Okay, and then here, and then I can do more. Oh, look, it's cosmic. There it is. I suggest that someone schedule and host a live stream event where TLC VNA members can simply show up and say present. It's still okay if their cameras are. No, it's not. Well, it's kind of okay. If you want to come on the stream with your camera turned off, you still have to have it turned on for the part where before I bring you on the stage, so I know that that you're not gonna, things. People do things, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll put that link in there, and we'll see if that happens in this very special out of touch menstruarily live stream, the Thursday night bubble. I should put night in there, huh?
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see. Doing what is right for me is lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
But as long as there were only like one or two of them at a time, I could sort of manage. And I had the same issues with, often with church people, because having an unmedicated schizophrenic in the back of the church is not a strategy for seeker-sensitive ministry.
Clip that.
Yeah, there you go, Chris. Clip that. Having an unmedicated schizophrenic in the back of the church is not a strategy for seeker-sensitive ministry.
Clip that.
Someone will walk in, I remember. So then we had when someone would knock on my door and want to talk for 2 hours. My schedule could handle it. So I talked for 2 hours. So I've listened for 2 hours. And that was, in many ways, all the internet randos are just, basically get what all the homeless randos used to get.
We're the new homeless.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's true.
I taught you how to clip, right?
So,
you do a clip mail for me. You can make a clip and then tweet it and then add Pastor Paul say clip mail.
Hey, Pastor Paul.
Are you saying we should LARP as adults
with like civic, human, responsible duties? For why to do it again? That's really what we're trying to do. And give and act like fully mature men for the benefit of everyone. For the benefit of everyone, he said. Is that part? LARP like grown men for the benefit of everyone? Is that what you're recommending people do?
on the other side of the LARP gate, Pastor Paul?
My question to you, sir, from this side of the LARP gate, where
basically get what all the homeless randos used to get.
We're the new homeless.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's true. So, yeah, so that's, and it's lamentable because I...
Let's see. Here. Fine. You guys can come on. Whatever. We're being social tonight. I got a quick story I gotta tell though. Even before that, share this tab instead. I just told the NightCafe guy. I just said, hey man, give me a what was it? An out of touch hot seat, and then it gave me menstruarily, like as a bonus answer. It was just like out of touch hot seat. How about this one, bro? We got the guy who looks on the left like that 700 Club fella. We got the guy in the special jacket like a Jordan Peterson in 20 years. It's it was pretty. Thank you, NightCafe, for all the wonderful things you do. Remember, Embody.
There is no agency
We want what's best. I'm out of time, but I'm out of my head. Shake it up is all that we know. Using the bodies up as we go. I'm waking up to fantasies. The shades all around aren't the colors we see. Broken ice still melts in the sun, and times that are broken can often be won again. We're so alone, and so really matters to me. Take a look around. You're out of touch. I'm out of time. But I'm out of my head. You know, I swear the first time I was exposed to that branding, it was the worst moment of my life. And now it's creepily growing into, like, I don't know. It's deeply affecting me when I hear it now. Welcome to the special Out of Touch Menstruarily with special guests. Special guest Jonathan Dumire and Pastor Paul Vanderclay. Jonathan, you should be around enough to know that you're on an unacceptable eye frame level with your camera there. You need you're at the bottom third, like you're upside down from where you should be. I need you a third higher on the camera. Yeah, see that's you.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
There, I'll let you do that. That perfect. See, that's good enough. Oh God, now I gotta self-correct. Welcome to the Out of Touch Menstruarily.
What a surprise to see you, Paul.
I know, Chris.
I tell you that NightCafe it gave it to me as a bonus gift. Which is good because something I had on deck was I have received some criticism that has been left to me, and I may present it tonight. It's we'll see if it goes there. But Ups wanted me to do wanted there to be a place for people to wave their hand and call into question this 90-ish active participant number that Grimgriz claimed in that hall conversation. And so, okay, fine, I'll let people in this one time. I'm not good at it. It makes me really.
Why don't you want to let people in, Grizz?
It's like people like I'm driving a boat here. There's rocks and there's Scylla and Charybdis, which I honestly I gotta say that aren't. We need a go-to video for as much as that gets referenced, because people don't read Greek myths much anymore. So
that's true. That's true. That was a great conversation you had with Jordan Hall. That was just tremendous. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Fringe encounter in the best way, and like I had the opportunity to say hello to him at the Huda Thunket, but it wasn't right. I couldn't do it. But then he did that D&D cred. He's like he knows the DMing side of things. Yes, Mills. Yeah. It's a late night stream. Phlebas, you've been on a stream. You've been on Abacabalia's stream. Did you guys catch that one? I caught the first 90 seconds, and it was like. I need the caring portion of the TLC to lean over there. Apparently, he seems to be having a rough one.
Yeah, it does sound like he's having a tough time. Well, he was last time I talked to him was a few weeks ago, and he seemed to be doing okay. But it sounds like he's having a rough time now. So,
see, that's going to be a measure of us. Is what happens when somebody reaches out. So, and where's Dolly?
Yeah, where's Dolly?
So, You know, it's
That's-
those kind of things, right?
Well, it's not like that doesn't happen in real life church too. People ghost you a fair amount. They disappear and they get upset if you track them down. They're like, "Why are you stalking me?" It's like,
well, you might not have to track them down, but at least if they're lurk watching, they'll know we miss them, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
You gonna get in trouble playing at this time of night?
Well, my poor wife has a bunch of work she has to do for tomorrow, so I was just making thumbnails of Jordan Peterson and his Code of Many Christians. So
that I love that too in this thumbnail. It was like, hey, look, we'll even put a guy in a funny coat.
I love this one.
That's great. What's up, Dumir?
Not much, man. It's pretty late here. It's 11:30.
Yeah, you're East Coast. You can tell by the beanie. That's how they represent visually, I think. How's your boat? I mean, I see it's active. I don't catch them all.
I had a shot. A shot was landed on my boat recently. Posted a video. Said some stuff about that product that was recently rolled out, and yeah, video got deleted, so I have a strike warning on my channel now.
For besmirching a merch?
Yep.
Disparaging a product?
Yeah, how could I? And yeah, how out of touch with me. And
it's good to know where the live rail is.
Yeah, so now if I violate that again before like the end of July or something, I get a strike, I guess. It's pretty whack. I had to do some like training.
Re-education.
Yeah,
I had to do the re-education to get mine off. Yeah. I had a community strike for some medical misinformation, which, whatever. Sure it was. But I had to be re-educated about that before they take that strike
so
off.
That's got me a little fired up. Like I've been watching all sorts of videos in that sphere, editing similar videos that hopefully won't get striked. But,
well, it's an area you want to talk about, apparently, right? What is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, just
say it. Tell me what it's about without getting me a strike.
I'll try. Maybe we can use like religious language, and they won't like pick up on it. Like archons, perhaps. I don't know. My
half sister was born and raised in Las Vegas, and she told me all you got to do is say "in a dream I had once," and then you can say whatever.
Interestingly, also the clip that got stricken didn't have any music, so like maybe if you have music, they're like, it's art, like or something. We can't like it's creative expression. Yeah.
Well, there's filters Chad uses that so you can play visuals that. Like mask.
Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Yeah.
But speaking of, look what I've done. Look what I've done.
Oh,
hey,
you
Jade.
summoned him.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, guys.
He gets a free pass on the eyeball level thing.
I get too many free passes.
You're doing a lot of work lately, though. Like a whole lot.
It's too much, I think, honestly. Sometimes.
Back to the sphincter conversation. I clipped that. That was great. The attention sphincter.
I thought that was a good idea as well. I like that idea.
Yeah. When Paul dropped down there like that, it made me realize how much Chad invokes the Wilson from Home Improvement archetype. Andy's Home Improvement. So isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Welcome, guys. This is the Out of Touch Menstruarily stream with special guests PVK, Chad, and Jonathan Dumir.
Don't still want Jonathan to come on.
He might. Meanwhile,
on the list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast Magic Missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile. Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
We got Hezzy in the chat, Clint and Phoebus, Slack. Any of these people could come on the stream and make it an even more special menstruary play.
You've inspired me to attack darkness, and also just to answer your question just a little bit, because I wouldn't want to leave you hanging on such a question that could go so many ways, about what I'm alluding to. But I don't know. I guess one thing that comes to mind is, have you heard of this new treaty thing that's going on?
Who?
Yeah.
Who would have heard of that? Not me, sir. I
Yeah.
just stay on the internet playing my video games. But in the game Civilization, there's treaties a lot. So you're just letting people know how horrible that is in the inappropriate fashion.
I mean, yeah. I mean, hopefully in an appropriate fashion. I don't want to be a doomer out here.
Well, just know that all gates have strong foundations. That's enough for me to know better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess for anyone who doesn't know, it's like this WHO treaty thing that I don't know what's how striking.
No, I think we've said enough. Sir.
Okay,
We've
yeah.
said enough. It's a it's a sovereignty issue.
Yeah.
When I'm running a stream, I need to be sovereign. That's why I normally don't let these people in. Like, who am I to deal with those sort of issues? All right, let's do a speed mess estuary. Everybody put something on the table. PVK, go.
Jordan Peterson, Russell Brand was a great conversation, except it wasn't a good conversation. It was competitive preaching. That's what it was.
Competitive preaching with Russell Brand. Jonathan, what are you putting on the table?
I'm gonna put it on the table.
Put the Who treaty on the table. Chad.
Sure.
Speed mestuary, I tell you.
That new branding that I put in your VNA logos.
The one I played before you showed up and you missed?
You played it? Yes.
Maybe. Let's find out. Crowd, have you seen this one yet?
To me, it seems that there must be something on the other side. We are all told that truth is merely a conclusion that can reliably be derived from some observable phenomenon. We forget that truth is a tool. It is the hook upon which we hang our deeds and the bed from which we rise each day. To assume that death is the end is to assume that our being extends no further than the physical substrate that carries us. This assumption does not account for the way in which we experience being alive, nor does it sit comfortably aside the fact that we are not yet able to comprehend the way in which our being manifests itself from the flesh and bone that binds us. I believe that those gaps in our understanding are still wide enough to cast doubt on such conclusions. I believe that those gaps are yet wide enough for our souls to fit through and drift onwards into some new realm.
And that's man, I'm really sorry I didn't give anybody savings throw tonight after that, Chad. That's powerful. That's powerful. Whatever we're doing.
I thought that California stop was pretty powerful. Just saying.
And what I'm putting on the table on our speed mestuary is a twofer or a one of a choice option, either Hermes or the Eye of Horus. Either one of those two is what I'd like to put on the table. and then right after this, we'll go around and see who wants to talk about what that's been put on the table.
I gotta go to sleep.
We need
I just want to let you know that you're virtually not alone. That's all.
Well, thank you, Chad. It's good to see you. We need somebody in that spot. Hurry up, guys. Links to the top. See you, Chad.
A man is defined by his action, not his memory.
Remember, Embody.
Now open your mind to me.
There is no agency.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
All right. Welcome. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I finally landed the elusive Phoebus on a stream.
Phoebus. Wow.
Is this the second stream you've ever
Can
been
you hear
on?
me?
We can. You sound delightful. I know I've only ever seen you on one
I've
before.
been on Jacob's stream, so.
Oh,
not
those
just-
ones. Yeah. Look away, baby. Look away. Oh. Caleb. Now we're getting crowded up in here.
Oh, there are too many people now. I was vying for the fourth slot.
It's fine. It's fine. We can deal with this, but you don't get to put anything on the table. Phoebus, you got to deal with whatever Chad put on the table. I think Slack said it was branding. So we have competitive preaching, treaties, branding, or one of the Egyptian gods. PVK, which of those appeals to you the most?
Oh, Hermes.
Jonathan.
I'll go with the Eye of Horus.
We're leaning Egyptian gods. Phoebus, can you pull us out?
Yeah, we can talk about Hermocrates.
Hermocrates. And Caleb, what's your vote?
I want to talk about Hermistotle.
All right, Hermistotle. There we go. Yeah. And for those of you not aware, that's going to be a reference to the Grail Country conversation between John Vervaeke and Nate Heil, where this was heard.
Right, we offer all these things, and like I can hear in my head people saying, "Well, yeah, but that's music. That's okay, right?" And it's like, well, for you, but I grew up in a fundamentalist church where people were worried about rock and roll because it would lead to demonic possession.
Yeah.
And we had an entire moral panic in the United States in the 80s around that. And so
that's the conversation we're referencing to, where our good friend John Vervaeke is now imaginally having dialogos with Hermes, and he's not thinking up the lines, and the script is being provided by an unknown quantity in his dialogical experiments. Who wants to go first?
This is an easy one. I found out I'm more normal than I thought I was, and I can't take some of the stuff that goes on around here. So if like a golden being shows up in your bedroom, it's just a no for me. And if you start praying to him, it's bad. So I don't know. I asked Nate Heil, what's the difference between school spirit and Hermes? And he said he's just an older pattern, more fundamental pattern. And to me, it just sounds like psychologizing. And I don't know. I guess I have a question, like, when we talk about spirits and stuff and Hermes, is it just like, is Hermes an entity or a pattern or a spirit or just a fractal level? Like, what are we talking about?
Well,
is that the question?
Yeah, I mean, even at the historical level, as I understand it, there's some like it's difficult to pin that down because like there's various, there's like you have the Hermes Trismegistus, right, who is supposedly this guy who may or may not have existed, who had like.
Well, let's reel it down to material reality for the people who love being atheists that are still.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because we're talking about.
And so, whatever it is in his subconscious imaginal is clearly based off of everything that man has ever read with regard to the god Hermes, Hanuman, Michael, and whatever. And for some reason, parts of his subconscious have decided to manifest themselves in a way he feels like talking about to Jordan Peterson in front of everybody.
So is that the thing that's going on? Are we saying it didn't materially show up? Is that if something incarnated into his bedroom?
Well, they got this IFS practice that they talk about the same way people that talked about neuro-linguistic programming used to talk about stuff. It's like, we got this thing we're doing, but it's we charge for it, so we can't really talk about it much. And it's in that practice it manifested. I don't know if he's had any manifestations outside of that practice. Nobody's really grilled him good on it yet. But you have a talk with him coming up on it, don't you?
Yeah. So I'll get a better sense of what he's talking about. I mean, I talk to a lot of people that see and hear things on a regular basis. More people see and hear things than you would expect, really. They just don't talk about it in public. So the fact that he talked about it with Jordan Peterson was quite remarkable, especially him. Now, is it easier to talk about because you're a physicalist? And so I haven't watched this conversation with Nate. I know he talks a little bit about being a buffered self or throwing away the buffered self, but if you're a physicalist, isn't that by definition buffered against? I don't know. There's so much here that it can be that you really do have to discern the spirits to see what their fruit are. I mean, that's sort of the bottom line.
In the bit in that conversation where they talk about that maniacal self or whatever, what came to mind for me was in the movie Split, the persona that got to play in the material realm of all the Legion in there is the one that got to hold the light. And so that's when you listen to him talk about that sort of thing. Like, I think that perspective will help you understand the big fancy words they like to talk about him with. Caleb, say things now, please.
I was just thinking, like, he didn't, like, we were asking what happened, like, materially. I don't think he mentioned that it was something that he kind of, it seems like more something that he was intuiting rather than something that he was hearing or perceiving. So I'm not super familiar with that. What did he call it? That practice he was doing where he compartmentalizes and talks to his subconscious and talks to himself.
The internal family system, IFS.
Oh, that's what it's called, right?
That's the one.
And it seems to me it's like, okay, well, as far as like, it seems to me that that's more at the level at which one would communicate with something like Hermes. And I'm not
like an externalized Hermes, of like a manifestation of the actual deity, the way someone who grew up on television would imagine the manifestation of an actual deity.
Are
like
we
saying, of course, he talked to you in his head. Yeah.
I'm kind of confused about like what the question is. Like, are we trying to pin down like what he thinks Hermes is?
No. We're just talking about like that he decided that whatever he experienced was worthwhile to mention as an event publicly and enter, I guess, a dialogical relationship with.
No.
And all I need from him is how it's different than the raw contact, because that was 3 people doing it, and one asked questions, the instrument lady, like, say, like, if I had John Vervaeke on right now, I'd be like, can you step aside and let me talk to Hermes? And that's the same as channeled material. So how is what's going on with him different than channeling? Because that raw contact is good good-ish. It's good-ish.
Well,
Got some
it's not.
holes. It's got holes. That's good.
It wasn't an ancestor. It wasn't. I mean, Hermes is a rather interesting selection.
Because
It's an
pinned to
interesting
that in my head is messenger of the gods, like as if that's his main title.
But are we losing a category here? Like, I'm sort of comfortable with manifesting school spirit. Like, I can understand that, and I can understand and maybe recognize when people are manifesting the spirit of Christ. But is this like, so those two things I see, but also in different categories. I don't just see that as like, oh, a different, deeper symbolic level or something. And so where's Hermes? Did we lose a category difference? Like, the people who are comfortable with it seem to be the people that like think symbolically and think, oh, of course. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think maybe like sorry, you could go, Paul, if you want.
Well, if it was Mary or a saint, would we be thinking differently about it?
Not me.
Not me. No.
I don't know. I feel like I probably watched the most Grail Country. I don't know actually about Caleb and Phoebus, but I don't know. I'm not trying to use that as credit. I just feel like I should like be the voice of Grail Country or something here to defend Nate's foray into this space or something. I don't know. I was reminded when you mentioned Peterson as well. Like, Peterson used to talk about Hermes in like a Jungian context, right? As like the psychopomp or something. Like, I remember sometimes.
Yeah. During when he went on Peterson and talked about it, that's where Peterson took it.
Yeah, like
no. During that conversation, he told Peterson it appeared to him like a psychopomp. Like, that was the definition of the appearance.
And which means like mind manifesting, right? So like I feel like that's maybe a hint as to how he conceives of it or something, if that's what we're
Didn't he tell Nate he was praying to it though?
I didn't get that far. It must be after 40 minutes.
I actually watched the Meditations on the Tarot episode on the Hermit and Michael Martin's talk on the Hermit, and then that one all today, like in a row.
Like a playlist for somebody who was interested in the topic would.
Yeah.
Well done, Demir. See, he's one of those industrious, hardworking types that I like to have.
Well, I also pulled the Tarot as a card today. I mean, I pulled the Hermit as the card before I went to work. I was like, what card should I think about today? Casually. And yeah, and it's the Hermit. So I'm like, oh man, I was already planning to watch these things on the Hermit, so perhaps I'll watch an additional one as well.
Now it's getting even more scary.
Yeah.
Demir is a very interesting corner of the corner. He's one of those Abraxas cats, PVK, and like, I don't know that you can even hear that because of your Blue Church ears.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure Galahad actually follows PVK.
Who doesn't follow PBK? Ace of Hearts.
He doesn't follow a lot of
Blue
people.
Church card of the show.
Demir's mentioning Michael Martin too, and that's another guy who's like, oh, in my youth I was hanging out at the whatever Hare Krishna temples, and then all of a sudden he's manifesting Krishna and he's meeting Krishna, and it's like,
yeah, didn't he visualize him
flags.
running across the lake at him?
Yeah,
I think that's in the Vervaeke Michael Martin talk over on the Regeneration podcast. The link's probably never put up there.
And I don't know. There's a certain type of person around here that I don't understand why they're so comfortable with that. Like, okay, maybe they understand it better than me. That's fine. But why are you comfortable with that? Like, we're hanging out at the temple and we're eating your sacred food, and then all of a sudden Krishna is charging at you across the lake, and it's like, that's not good. I don't know. I'm too much of a normie to hang around here.
Well, I think it's helpful to explore why it isn't good. And I think
it might be good.
Well, I think part of it is I find New Age people sometimes imagining that the spirit world is fun and harmless. And I don't think that. I don't think that, partly because the Haitians that I used to minister to, they really didn't think that.
I'm with you.
They didn't think that at all. And so at the same time, I have a degree of sobriety about the fact that a lot of people hear voices, a lot of people see things. And so it's helpful to listen to people first and try to figure out exactly what they're saying and what they mean and what else they're involved with. So
I think some people.
what else they're involved with is a big question.
I just want to say, my gut instinct on it is that it is very much ado about nothing. Mills says, "I'm wondering when the bicameral mind will enter the discussion." But like, especially the way he described it to Nate in that interview, it's to relate the people to the. I think that's the goal here. I think what this is like an atheist guide to reenchantment. Like for people who are still actually there in the hard material atheism, like this guy having this experience might be their on-ramp to a less enchanted reality.
Yeah, but that group of the corner, they don't want to go. They don't want to re-enchant. They want to go all the way back. They think this whole 500 years is a mistake. I think they want to go right back to the medieval system, and I don't know. I think there's drawbacks. I think we lose something. I think the way we view reality didn't come about for no reason. Like I don't think Jonathan Pajot sees the world as it truly is. Yeah, we might learn something from him. I think he's got advantages, stuff that we lost, but I don't think returning to this is like a big celebration.
That's fair if we have alternatives, but
it's meta modern. We just got to integrate it all.
But like there seems to be a global reset going on, and that happens after one of the races wins. And what there's gonna be a shift, and so people pitching out what we should move to is gonna happen. There's a collapse of whatever we've had until now. I don't know if I see it more than you but it's in that's the backdrop of people wanting to go back 500 years is that everything we got the transhuman movement is it points towards state control of reproduction, and worse, and it looks like that's where we're headed. So for people to want to cling back to the most material reality that they could bear and land at the Middle Ages, that makes sense, and I don't fault them for it.
I appreciate what you said, but to add to it and maybe say, like, I think maybe it's a little more nuanced, perhaps, like in the sense that, I don't know, I think that, would you say, Grizz? I'm just curious, like, do you think that it's kind of like a restorationism type of sentiment that we're getting out of Peugeot? And because I can see where you're coming from, Phoebus, but I think maybe there's like I don't think that going back to things such as more traditional spirits or beings or whatever you want to call it, like Hermes, or practices like astrology and stuff. Like, I think that the way that Nate phrased it in that talk, if I remember correctly, he said he used the example of the Bacchanal and how, like, Aslan, since Aslan is there, it's fine to be at the Bacchanal, right? And like the idea of like how Christ
everybody, what the heck is the Bacchanal, and who is Aslan?
I believe he's referencing The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but it might be a different one of his novels where there was like a Bacchanal is like you can kind of think about it as like a really old rave, except like you know, like you probably got naked ladies and such like dancing about.
Bacchus is the god of wine, right?
Yeah, Bacchus. Yeah, and so
All right,
like
so they're having this mega party,
yeah,
but
and
I don't
Aslan is
remember any
there.
naked ladies in Narnia.
I didn't read it, but and I don't even know
So
if it's in the
Aslan's there, and he's the Jesus reference in the
yeah.
scene.
So it's like since Jesus is there, it's kind of okay. I'm
You
very
might
much
be
oversimplifying it, but I think that's the way that Nate put it. Like in the sense that, you know, and that's what Jonathan Peugeot would say as well, is that like Jesus doesn't kill the old gods, but he like puts them in their proper place, and like they all are kind of oriented under him, pointing their purposes actually revealed, you know, under Christ, is what I think he would say. So like maybe it's
So
maybe it's like a
the
reintegration of participation, you know, like the return of this connection with the world. It's not just going back, it's also like it's a return in a higher way perhaps, or something. I don't know.
The jackass way of summarizing what you just said is like, it's okay if I go play with demons so long as Christ is with me.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I don't
me
know.
and
Well, I
Christ
think
using the Ouija board. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I feel bad. Hopefully
I
I'm
can
not
see why
butchering
lots and
what
lots
Nate
and
said.
lots of people think that's dangerous waters.
Yeah.
Well,
What you got?
here's an idea. Here's an idea. Well, when I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be that guy and point to. I think that what you're trying to reference was the end of that hideous strength, where Venus comes down, and I think bears have sex. I think that happens in the end of that book.
It might have been that
Anyways,
one. Yeah, that's fair.
So C.S. Lewis can write a wild party.
yeah, no, it happened. It was great. I was shocked. But anyways, let's see. Yeah, so here's something to kind of put forth. And you can, you know, believe the story or not. But there was my sister heard this from my uncle who's a missionary. There is a story about this village in India that some missionaries visited, and then the village, I guess, leader, I don't know what he would be called, greeted him and said, "Hey, we welcome you." It might be chief. And he said, "Our gods told you that if you were coming and you were going to give us the truth." And so
Give
the
us what?
missionaries were basically welcomed with open arms. Give us the
They're gonna
truth.
give them what though? The truth?
The truth. Yeah, the god of the village told the village elders that these people would come and they would bring the truth and to listen to them. And the missionaries came and they were like, "Okay, well, we'll receive you." So I don't know I don't know, you know, you can believe that or not, but the question is, if such a thing happened, what would that be? As far as like, is that a good thing? Can gods, like pagan gods of any sort,
every knee
people?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what was up with the three kings, right? Is that like they were pointed to Christ through the signs? You know, it's kind of similar. It reminds me of what you're saying, right? I don't know. It also reminded me, Paul. I've been looking for a while of a clip of yours where you were talking about the gods on the beach. What he was talking about there reminded me of that, because I
Don't
want to
sleep,
make a
there are
clip of that.
snakes.
What?
It's in the book. Don't sleep. There are snakes.
Okay, yeah. Well, I want to find. Yeah, I want to maybe either find the clip of, because I remember you talking about it, and I've been looking for the clip because I want to make like a clip
Search
of it.
snakes, and you know if the search thing is working, because that's a word I don't say much, but it should be there in the
Got you.
title of the book. So
That reminded me of a website that I found that I was told to send to you, Grace.
By whom?
By Chris McDonald. So Waves of Obsession.
Oh, good. I need to talk.
It's a website where you can put in like the name of a YouTube channel and then put in like a phrase, and it'll search all the transcripts on that channel. Wow. That's how I found the one. That's how, a useful tool perhaps. And that's the one. That's how I found the one with you talking about the music of the Ainur, because that's the one that
he re-released that as a standalone. It's fabulous.
Yeah. So
in a hideous orange sweater.
I'll put that in the comments of this video.
I've got it.
It's a useful tool. It's helped me a lot. Yeah.
There's a lot of missionary stories like that, Caleb. And there's other missionary stories that are not like that.
Martyr ones.
There are missionary stories like crazy. We live in a very weird world in that we have so few stories like this. Most of these stories are suppressed. And so for someone like John Vervaeke to say what he said is very interesting in where he said it, and to experience what he did. So it bears listening to. And you listen and you try and figure out what he's saying and what happened and what meant, but you'll never get to the bottom of it. And in time, these things show what they are.
There'll be fruits. There'll be fruits. What was that, Phlebas?
I think there's some people who are comfortable with it because they basically think everything's going to be redeemed. So they're just not worried about. They ignore the bad missionary stories. Maybe, I don't know.
There are universal redemptionists around these parts. All right, so Paul, what happens after you've done a round?
Oh, we've already been having the free flow conversation.
So that's the next.
Wait,
stage.
can I say one more thing about Hermes? I looked up the transcript while we were talking because I was like, oh man, I don't remember anything that they talked about Hermes. I'm blanking. But so I decided to look it up, and he says Hermes. He presents himself to me as the personified presence of the vertical and horizontal participation. And that is something I've been, of course, wrestling with. Theoretically, it goes on, but
the personified presence.
Yeah, kind of an interesting. Let's see what else. Maybe I don't know. I just remember that phrase when I read it there. I remember that one sticking out.
Well, I'll tell you. Earlier today, I've clipped a clip from there. I can just jump to the actual thing. It happened to be at the 33rd minute, and it's the best chance of easing someone like Phlebas's mind about the whole thing, I think. So I'll run that now. I know it's just the best chance, Phlebas. You're going to make your saves.
Real creativity where something comes over you. People even use poetically. They talk about a muse coming over them, and it's them and not them, or they're writing a poem and the poem writes itself or them as much as they're writing it. You know what I'm talking about it. And if you can just sort of step aside from the buffered self that Charles Taylor's talk about and open up to the fact we've got to recapture the ability to live and live in a personal way. You would like that. We have to live in a personal way what participation is if we're going to actually get at what a lot of the work I've been talking about is pointing to.
Yeah,
Oh, hey, I'm large. That's what I thought there. I thought that was a pretty good, here, this might eat your mind a bit.
I got a question. I want to go back to this category thing. So we got school spirit. If we use the corner stuff.
All right, let's stop there and break apart school spirit.
Let me finish. School spirit, Santa Claus. We got Hermes. We got Christ. We have Satan. For like
angels.
The way I grew up, some of those are entities. Some of those are emergent spirits. Like there's different categories there. And the way some of the talk goes on around here, symbolically, it's like, oh, those are just patterns. Or the way Peterson talks, oh, it's just, the psychological Satan shows up. Or the fractal pattern snake shows up in the universal history story or whatever. And for me, we're losing category distinctions. So when John says, oh, it's just I'm in a manic writing phase or whatever, but it happens to show up as an embodied golden being, I'm like, you've leapt categories to me. I don't know, but I'm normal.
Good. It's nice to have those around. Sorry, what?
I think that's a very strong point. I think three things. Number one, I'm really, it interests me how much attention Hermes has grabbed. Because it's, I don't think about it that much, but it's a very frequent conversation, which is a data point for me. Number two, I think you're right, Phlebas, in that we are, because we have sort of dismissed spirits as, let's say, intersubjective, as if we understand what that means, which I really don't. I used school spirit because I wanted to illustrate to people that, in fact, the word is not completely dead among us. And there are, having an understanding of exactly how we're using it is helpful. And because we're always trying to sort of reappropriate and not let biblical language slip away. And then also recognizing that in sort of this Cartesian dualism, there's, what sometimes is sort of called substance ontology that Descartes has. We just have a real hard time thinking about, I mean, Vervaeke uses the word hyper thing. These are things that are around, but they're not, they take on different kinds of bodies. So actually, Phlebas, I'm thinking about making a video about body and classis and council and synod and the angel of the church of such and such, because the confessionality thing comes in, because when a church puts up a statement on a website, in a sense, that becomes a confession of the church. And it's a body. And of course, all of this language does come from the New Testament. So those are just three thoughts. And the fixation, just the amount of attention that this Hermes thing is grabbing, that's interesting to me too, because I don't know how much it warrants. That doesn't mean to say that this isn't potentially a very dangerous and serious thing for John, but I don't know that.
Well, I'm just connecting it with a lot of other stuff. Maybe it takes me a while to process it, but like this whole argument over the word real and that whole mic drop thing where, oh, of course I believe in Santa, or let's take Santa. Yeah, okay, Santa's real. We can see how he moves the body. But again, we've lost a category distinction if we just call everything real. It's like saying anything exists. Okay. So I don't know. You could just make something up in this conversation and go, look how it's moving everyone. We're all thinking about this thing I made up. Isn't it real? It's like, no, it's nonsense. So
Do you think Hermes is more real than Santa, or the other way around?
Well, that's my fundamental question. So I think Satan is more real than Santa, and I think Hermes is somewhere in between.
Between Santa and Satan, there lied Hermes. I just want to say the school spirit and Santa are both participatory kayfabes. And the reason it's school spirit, or the spirit of the thing, is because God breathed into the clay, and like when we get enthusiastic or carried by a spirit, it's because spirit means breath. It's like, here's what we're gonna do with the breath we're given. We're gonna this is the spirit of the thing. The spirit of the moment is what everybody who's got the breath is doing.
Well, here's a question, Grim. Do we just embody the spirit of Satan, or does Satan incarnate into the world? The difference between embodying and incarnating. So are we just like school spirit? I think people embody that. It's real. It moves the body, but it requires people. I don't think Satan requires people. I think, I think he's pre-existent or exists without us. And so where's and I maybe other people don't agree with me because probably the symbologist people think differently, or Peterson would just psychologize it all. But so
Well,
where's
how much
Hermes?
of
Did
an angelic
Hermes
hierarchy do you have?
did I don't know? Did John embody Hermes, or did Hermes incarnate into the room?
Or is there damage? Is there a tumor growing on his corpus callosum? And for some reason, his right hemisphere is getting access to linguistic portions of his brain and can speak, whereas most of us can't ever talk to our right hemisphere.
Well, that sounds like a materialist explanation.
I think
that it should be noted
Kind
that.
Go ahead,
I was
Caleb.
going to say, I think it should be noted that I remember Vervaeke's talk with you, Paul. Which conference was it? It was, I think it might be Thunder Bay, where he mentioned that he didn't think that, I think what he called, I don't know if he synonymized it with egregores and spirits, but I think he said something to the effect of spirits can't exist without people.
Right.
At least something to that effect. So the idea that I think that's pretty. I think it's a good assumption to say that whatever is true or not, John Vervaeke doesn't think that Hermes is a separate entity from himself in that fashion.
But of the three of us, John has changed, I think, more than Jonathan or myself on many topics.
That's
I
true.
think
It is possible his opinion might have changed since.
I think part of our Christian commitments sort of keeps us in a little bit more. And I think John has, when I look at some of the stuff that John has said 4 or 5 years ago, and I listen to him today, I see movement. I think, I don't know. I mean,
Well, he's not trying to build a church or religion. It's not a religion.
Can I
anymore.
say something here? I think it's very relevant. I think I don't know. I think you're raising good questions, Fleabus. You know, like I think like trying to understand what exactly it is, either in like what he thinks, how he conceives of it, or like what what is the ontological status of this Hermes that he claims to be interfacing with? Is I think a valid question.
Ontological status. That was good.
Yeah. But I think maybe like returning to, I forget which one of y'all brought it up, but like maybe taking this analysis of like what is it doing? I think it was you, Grizz, saying like that it's acting as an intermediary, an exemplar. I think maybe you said for other people, like who might be.
Oh yes, yeah. How
like
it could play out in the waters.
Yeah, and it connects to something else he said here, which is that I think if maybe analyzing it in terms of how is it acting out, like whether or not this is a good thing or not, as opposed to trying to figure out what exactly it is, which I also think is a good question. I think we might be able to glean something, which is that he says, he says the conversations with the dialogues that I have with Hermes, this is an imaginal enactment of the relationship to the divine double, paraphrasing slightly here, to Charles Stang's divine double. And it's not like a thought, it's like a practice, he says. And then he says later that he asks Hermes what he thinks of Jesus, right? And he said that Jesus is the incarnation of the Logos, which I thought is very interesting, because as it's slowly coming back to me that I listened to this earlier today, the vibe that I was kind of getting, and hopefully I'm not like being too explicit here, is that I think it was kind of, it may be operating as like a mediator for Christianity for him in some sense, in that I'm not sure though, like if that's the right way to phrase it, but it's interesting to see that he thinks of this as a practice of something to do with his divine double, and that his divine double, or the person who's speaking to his divine double for him, tells him that Jesus is the incarnation of the Logos. I don't know, kind of interesting, like.
The only way to get a witness to John Vervaeke is to make Hermes appear.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. This goes back to my to my conspiracy theory. You remember that he's He's just a undercover evangelical. He's went the science route.
All right. Well, that's going to be
It's a
your
joke.
last
It's a
bit
joke.
here.
It's a joke.
That's still going to be your last bit. I'm wrapping up this out of touch
It's a joke.
menstruarily. Phlebas, what do you
Yep.
got for us?
Was there an entity that tempted Christ, or was Christ manifesting the spirit of Satan, or what's the category there? I'm losing my mind.
What's the difference between John Vervaeke's going through and Christ being tempted by Satan? That's a good one. Caleb, what do you got?
When you say what do I got, do you mean like do I have an opinion on that?
Like, I'm going around getting everybody's closing thoughts because this is about over now.
Are we oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't been to enough estuaries.
I haven't either. This is just my stream version. Closing thoughts. You got this.
Closing thoughts. Okay.
I love you guys.
know.
See you next time.
I
Good
sure
one,
hope-
Caleb.
I sure hope Gummies is a good guy. I sure hope Hermes is a good guy and not one of the bad ones, yo.
I hope Hermes is a good guy. All right, PBK. What about you, sir?
God uses mysterious ways to colonize the ones he wants.
Mysterious ways. All right. Thank you, PBK.
Nice to see you
Thank
all.
you, Caleb. Thank you, Phlebas, for making an appearance. Good to see you, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. I'll check with the hive mind now on this out of touch menstruarily Thursday bubble. Thanks for making us all feel virtually not alone. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. All right, this has been a special. I let other people on my stream for some reason. Stream.
I'm not a cat.
The Ko-Fi link is down in the description if for some reason I don't pin it to a chat. Just so you know.
Now what'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime?
Good night, everybody.